Welcome to today's Explainer. Let's just jump right in, shall we? Today, we are unpacking something absolutely massive. We're talking about some of the most influential words literally ever spoken. We're going to break down the life-changing teachings and the undeniable authority of Jesus. Whether you know these texts like the back of your hand or you're just, curious about how his message changed history, we're going to see exactly what drew thousands of people to him. We'll look right at the historical texts to understand his core messages, things like love, forgiveness, and the kingdom of God. It's a huge topic, so let's get right to it. Okay, so picture this scene in your head. Jesus is walking through these dusty, ancient villages, and everywhere he goes, there are just massive, swarming crowds following him. But it really begs the question, right? What were all these people actually looking for? I mean, it's so easy to assume they were just there for the show, chasing after the next big spectacle or hoping to see something unexplainable. But when we look a little closer at what actually motivated them, well, a much deeper reality starts to unfold. Turns out, they weren't just showing up for miracles. They were quite literally starving to hear the truth. And hey, this is an absolutely crucial distinction if we want to understand his lasting impact. The folks gathering around him, they were desperately searching for something real, something profound. They wanted lasting spiritual wisdom, not just a temporary fix or a flashy magic trick. And honestly, it was exactly this deep underlying hunger in the crowds that set the perfect stage for the kind of teachings he was about to drop on them. So, what exactly was this truth they were so desperate for? Imagine a quiet hillside, packed with families, kids, and his disciples, all leaning in to listen. Here, he laid out that God's kingdom is built on 4 distinct pillars. We're talking faith, mercy, humility, and forgiveness. He taught these with absolute clarity and so much love. And listen, these aren't just some lofty, abstract philosophical ideas. According to his teachings, these are the literal building blocks of the kingdom of God. And smack in the middle of all those pillars is this one core directive: love one another as I have loved you. Now, this wasn't just tossed out there as a polite suggestion. No way. It was a foundational command. It really drives home that a radical, active kind of love is the beating heart of his entire message. And the love he's talking about? Totally not theoretical. It was modeled directly on his own actions, setting this incredibly high, uncompromising standard for anyone who wanted to follow him. But let's be real for a second. How does that actually look on a random Tuesday? How do we apply that day to day? Well, the teachings break this down into super concrete actions. It's about loving our neighbors, forgiving the people who hurt us, and just treating others with basic kindness and compassion. Notice how actionable that is. He didn't leave it vague. He told his followers exactly how to interact with each other. It's all about taking that radical love and actually doing it, even when it is incredibly tough. Because let's face it, finding the strength to forgive people who've caused us pain, that is no small task. Now, that outward practice of love, it actually has to be fueled by an internal posture. Jesus would often pray with his disciples and comfort those who are hurting by giving them 3 very specific, actionable steps for their inner life. Step 1, trust God. Step 2, pray with a sincere heart. And step 3, seek God's kingdom above absolutely everything else. This structured approach is brilliant because it shows just how holistic his teachings really were. It wasn't just about playing nice with the people around you. It was heavily focused on cultivating this deep internal anchor into sincere reliance on God. And you can imagine all of this had a completely profound emotional and spiritual effect on the crowds. Picture him blessing children, warmly welcoming the outcasts. The impact is beautifully summed up like this. His words brought hope to the broken, peace to the troubled, and joy to those who believed. And why does this matter? Well, because these weren't just dry, boring academic lectures. Far from it. These were deeply transformative experiences that literally healed people, emotionally and spiritually, right there on the grass. Which actually brings us to a really core scriptural observation from the book of Matthew. It says, he taught them as one who had authority. And honestly, that hits the nail on the head. It perfectly explains why his words carried so much weight and kicked off a legacy that has lasted for literally thousands of years. He wasn't just quoting other scholars or kind of throwing out theories to see what stuck. Not at all. His wisdom, his whole message of love, was delivered with this absolute, definitive authority. And that is exactly what captivated those hungry crowds we talked about at the very beginning of this explainer. So, looking at all of this, we are left with a very direct and pretty provocative question from the text itself. The teachings of Jesus still change lives today. Will you follow him? We've just walked through the pillars of the kingdom, the real-world steps of love and forgiveness, and the undeniable authority behind his words. But the ultimate question is, what do you actually do with that truth? Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer today. I really hope this deep dive into the text has given you something truly meaningful to chew on.